Leasing a master electrician license can be a complex endeavor. The typical leasing rate can range from $500 to $2,000 per month, contingent on several aspects such as the reputation and experience of the electrician, the specific location, the demand for electrical services in that area, and the terms outlined in the lease agreement itself, including its length and payment schedule. The responsibility for insurance coverage typically falls on the lessee or the electrician utilizing the license. They are usually responsible for securing and maintaining adequate insurance to cover their operations, which includes general liability insurance, workers' compensation insurance, and errors and omissions insurance. There are, however, potential risks associated with leasing a master electrician license. Firstly, the owner of the license remains ultimately responsible for any work performed under their license. This is professional liability. Secondly, if the lessee violates electrical codes or commits any illegal acts, the owner of the license could face legal consequences. This is criminal liability. Thirdly, if the lessee performs subpar work or engages in unethical behavior, it could damage the reputation of the license holder. This is reputational damage. To turn a profit from leasing your master electrician license, consider the following. 1. Negotiate a favorable lease agreement. Set a reasonable monthly rate and establish clear terms for payment, duration, and responsibilities. 2. Verify the lessee's experience and reputation. Ensure that the electrician has a proven track record of quality workmanship and a good business reputation. 3. Require adequate insurance coverage. Protect yourself by requiring the lessee to obtain comprehensive insurance that covers all potential liabilities. 4. Monitor the lessee's performance. Regularly check in with the lessee to ensure compliance with electrical codes and ethical standards. Consider leasing to a licensed contractor. This can provide additional protection for you as the license holder. Before entering into a lease agreement, consult with an attorney to ensure that your interests are protected. Outline all terms and conditions of the lease clearly in writing. It's crucial to recognize the importance of professional liability. As the license holder, you bear the ultimate responsibility for all work conducted under your license. This means that even if you are not directly involved in a project, you could be held liable for any errors, omissions, or negligence on the part of the electrician leasing your license. Criminal liability is another significant risk. If the electrician leasing your license violates electrical codes or engages in any illegal activities, you could face legal consequences, including fines, penalties, and even criminal charges. Reputational damage is also a concern. If the electrician leasing your license performs subpar work or engages in unethical behavior, it could damage your reputation and the reputation of your license. This could make it difficult to find future work or lease your license to other electricians. To mitigate these risks, it's essential to take the following steps. Firstly, thoroughly screen potential lessees. Before leasing your license to an electrician, conduct a thorough background check to ensure that they have a good reputation, a proven track record of quality workmanship, and no history of code violations or unethical behavior. Secondly, require adequate insurance coverage. Make sure that the electrician leasing your license has adequate insurance coverage to protect you from potential liabilities. This should include general liability insurance, workers' compensation insurance, and errors and omissions insurance. Thirdly, monitor the electrician's performance. Regularly check in with the electrician leasing your license to ensure that they are complying with electrical codes and ethical standards. This could include reviewing their work, inspecting their job sites, and talking to their customers. Fourthly, establish a written lease agreement. A written lease agreement is essential to protect your interests and clarify the terms of the lease. The agreement should outline the responsibilities of both parties, including the scope of work, payment terms, insurance requirements, and termination clauses. To negotiate a favorable lease agreement, start by researching the going rates for leasing a master electrician license in your area. This will give you a good idea of what you can reasonably expect to charge. When setting a monthly rate, consider the electrician's experience, reputation, and the demand for electrical services in your area. You should also establish clear terms for payment, including the due date, method of payment, and late payment penalties. The lease agreement should also specify the duration of the lease and the conditions under which it can be terminated. To verify the lessee's experience and reputation, check their references, review their past work, and talk to their customers. You can also check with your local licensing board to see if they have any complaints or disciplinary actions against them. Requiring adequate insurance coverage is essential to protect yourself from potential liabilities. Make sure that the electrician leasing your license has general liability insurance to cover bodily injury and property damage, workers' compensation insurance to cover injuries to their employees, and errors and omissions insurance to cover mistakes or negligence. To monitor the lessee's performance, regularly check in with them to ensure that they are complying with electrical codes and ethical standards. This could include reviewing their work, inspecting their job sites, and talking to their customers. If you have any concerns about their performance, address them immediately. Leasing to a licensed contractor can provide additional protection for you as the license holder. A licensed contractor will have their own insurance coverage and will be responsible for the work performed by their employees. Before entering into a lease agreement, consult with an attorney to ensure that your interests are protected. An attorney can review the lease agreement and advise you on your rights and responsibilities. Establishing a written lease agreement is essential to protect your interests and clarify the terms of the lease. The agreement should outline the responsibilities of both parties, including the scope of work, payment terms, insurance requirements, and termination clauses. Additional considerations include clearly defining the scope of work that the electrician is authorized to perform under your license. This will help to prevent them from taking on projects that they are not qualified to handle. It's also important to specify the geographical area in which the electrician is authorized to work. This will help to prevent them from working in areas where you are not licensed or where there is a high demand for electrical services. Another consideration is establishing a procedure for resolving disputes. This will help to prevent disagreements from escalating into legal battles. The lease agreement should also include a termination clause that specifies the conditions under which the lease can be terminated. This will help to protect you if the electrician violates the terms of the lease or engages in unethical behavior. By taking these steps, you can minimize the risks associated with leasing your master electrician license and turn a profit while helping other electricians out. Understanding the nuances of liability is crucial when considering leasing your master electrician license. As the license holder, you are essentially vouching for the competence and ethical conduct of the electrician operating under your credentials. This means that you could be held responsible for their actions, even if you were not directly involved in the work. It's important to distinguish between different types of liability. Professional liability arises from errors, omissions, or negligence in the performance of electrical work. For example, if the electrician installs wiring incorrectly and causes a fire, you could be held liable for the damages. Criminal liability arises from violations of electrical codes or other laws. For example, if the electrician performs work without the required permits or uses substandard materials, you could face criminal charges. Reputational liability arises from damage to your reputation as a result of the electrician's actions. For example, if the electrician performs subpar work or engages in unethical behavior, it could damage your reputation and make it difficult to find future work. To protect yourself from liability, it's essential to take the following precautions. Conduct thorough background checks on potential lessees. This should include checking their references, reviewing their past work, and talking to their customers. Require adequate insurance coverage. The electrician leasing your license should have adequate insurance coverage to protect you from potential liabilities. This should include general liability insurance, workers' compensation insurance, and errors and omissions insurance. Monitor the electrician's performance. Regularly check in with the electrician leasing your license to ensure that they are complying with electrical codes and ethical standards. Establish a written lease agreement. A written lease agreement is essential to protect your interests and clarify the terms of the lease. The agreement should outline the responsibilities of both parties, including the scope of work, payment terms, insurance requirements, and termination clauses. Seek legal advice. Before entering into a lease agreement, consult with an attorney to ensure that your interests are protected. An attorney can review the lease agreement and advise you on your rights and responsibilities. By taking these precautions, you can minimize the risks associated with leasing your master electrician license and protect yourself from liability. Regarding insurance coverage, ensure the lessee carries sufficient coverage. General liability insurance protects against claims of bodily injury or property damage caused by the electrician's work. Workers' compensation insurance covers injuries sustained by the electrician's employees while on the job. Errors and omissions insurance protects against claims of financial loss caused by the electrician's mistakes or negligence. Verify the insurance coverage. Obtain copies of the electrician's insurance policies and verify that they are current and provide adequate coverage. Name yourself as an additional insured. This will provide you with additional protection in the event of a claim. Before entering into a lease agreement, consult with an attorney to ensure that your interests are protected. An attorney can review the lease agreement and advise you on your rights and responsibilities. Legal counsel can help you understand the terms of the lease agreement and identify any potential risks. An attorney can also help you negotiate the terms of the lease agreement to ensure that your interests are protected. Furthermore, it's important to have a comprehensive written agreement. The lease agreement should clearly outline the responsibilities of both parties, including the scope of work, payment terms, insurance requirements, and termination clauses. It should also specify the geographical area in which the electrician is authorized to work and the procedure for resolving disputes.